We need a bloopers reel.
Yeah.
What's going on, movie fans? Welcome to MovieRounders.com, and we have a special video for you today. We're doing our top 5 Halloween movies of all time. Each of us are going to give you our top 5. We're going to start with our 5 through 2, and then at the end, we'll each tell you our favorite Halloween movie of all time. Doesn't necessarily have to be scary. We just said Halloween. So, with that said, let's kick it over to Daniel and see what his 5 through 2 are.
Okay. I'm gonna go with movies that I just really love. I really enjoy these movies, and a lot of these movies scare the crap out of me. So it's like it's a little bit of that. So I'm gonna start off with my number 5, which is actually a comedy and a tragedy. It's Edward Scissorhands. I absolutely love that movie, and I love to watch it on Halloween. It's so much fun. So, okay, you want number 4?
I'm a big fan of Edward Scissorhands. I'm sure Tony has never seen it because it's a good movie.
I saw it.
It's one of Johnny Depp's.
Tony hates Tim Burton.
I saw it once.
Yeah.
If you like Johnny Depp,
I mean, it was okay.
The acting
but it
is
was not something I went, ooh, I want to watch this again.
I got you.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder.
The Ice Dance with Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
My brother says that's probably the best looking movie character of all time. Yeah. Winona Ryder in that movie.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right, number 4 for Halloween.
All right, Halloween number 4 for me is No Country for Old Men. I love that movie on Halloween. It is.
Can you explain why you like that movie on Halloween?
That movie had me on the edge of the seat, and I can tell you this: a lot of my deal with movies is I love good audio. The audio and the music had me just sitting on the edge of my seat. I didn't know what was going to happen next. The deal with the guy going around killing all these old people. The guy, the guy that was the law, in the money in the suitcase. That whole thing, I would just love it. But anyways, it's kind of a creepy factor. The guy that I can't think of the guy that played the killer in that movie, but he was amazing.
Javier Bardem.
Yes.
Anton Chigurh.
He's the perfect killer character. I mean, to me. So.
It was, in my mind, that movie's evil for evil's sake. It was just it was evil shock value. They just did things where you're like, did he just do that? So
exactly.
So you end up with this character that's just shockingly evil.
Yes.
But
peculiar.
I don't know, but I didn't like the movie. The movie just felt it rambled on and with a bunch of shocking evil moments. But it just, and there's some, I don't know, the pacing to it, everything about it to me, I came up going, it was just evil, but not, the story was not great for me. So.
Okay.
Just shocked it was part of your Halloween film.
I mean, it's scary. The dude's scary. The guy that played the evil dude is scary.
I want a part 2 of that movie.
Number 3, sir. What do you got?
Okay. Number 3 for me is Poltergeist. When I was 10 years old or 11 years old, I got to see it and literally could not sleep for 3 days. I mean, it's one of those classic Halloween movies for me that I love watching it on Halloween just because it's a lot of fun. And
still can't watch the clown scene. No clown scene.
It's literally probably been 25 or 30 years since I saw that, but I remember at the time thinking it was really scary.
And the special effects for the day were just bar none. It was awesome. Yeah. So really good.
All right. Number 2.
Okay. Number 2 for me, another one. I couldn't sleep for a couple of days after watching it. A Nightmare on Elm Street. I love this movie on Halloween.
Literally couldn't sleep because of
I couldn't. Yes. We were terrified to go to sleep. And just so much fun. And just the characters, the acting, another Johnny Depp movie, which is phenomenal. And just everything about that movie was just pure terror for me when I watched it for the very first time.
And unlike other movies, it was happening inside of a dream world where Freddy Krueger had all the power. So it wasn't like your standard Halloween slasher thing where you're being chased by this thing, but you had the real world rules to deal with. This was his world. It was inside his dreamscape. So it was, at the time, to me, it felt like it was really unique because you couldn't get away from it. So.
Right.
All righty. So, party at Daniel's house for Halloween. You'll get some extra scary and a little No Country for Old Men.
And
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Okay.
Tony, you're 5 through 2. And yes, we will come back to his number 1 at the end. So stay tuned.
All right. So I looked up, for me, I'm not a huge scary movie kind of guy. So these things are going to go back to my childhood. For Halloween, I think scary. So I tried to go back and think about what were the movies that shaped me as a young kid that still to this day, when you hear the soundtracks to those movies or you see a clip from it, it'll stop you in your tracks to watch it because you knew at the time when you were 10, 12, 15, that those things, they got into your psyche in a way that affect you for a long time. So,
Right.
so any of the later movies, I'm an adult now, so I don't look at a movie that's scary and see it the same way I did when I was 14.
Mhm.
So it affects you differently. So for me, kind of going back as the younger I got, the scarier to me things were. But first on the list was Silence of the Lambs, 1991.
Very good.
Yeah.
You know, the
Academy Award winning. Silence of
the idea of a loose killer and then going and partnering with a master killer, you know, a master serial killer, and how that the dynamic the two had between for that to me was really interesting. And he plays such a good scary. I mean, it was an intelligent and not visceral. He was very thought provoking. So for me, that was just a great movie. And then you had the killer on the outside that they're helping track, which was in itself had a lot of scariness to it. But it was a great dynamic between the two characters, I thought.
It's very scary. Anthony Hopkins getting an Oscar with only about 15 minutes of actual screen time in the movie.
Yeah,
And
but
I definitely agree with that. I love Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Not so much the sequels, but Silence of the Lambs.
Can I give you this little nugget? I didn't see that movie till I was maybe 35, just because like I didn't see that movie because I was afraid to watch that movie. Like it got away from me, and literally I just saw it like a couple of years ago for the first time, which is so weird because I love Anthony Hopkins and everyone that was in it.
and did it hold up? Was it?
Oh yeah, it was good. Yeah, I really love it. Yeah.
Number 4.
Number 4 for me is right with what he just said. Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. I was 14.
Yeah.
The idea of this killer that was not real, and
Yeah.
it was in a dreamscape, and the kids could not run and get away from it. It was just a very visceral thing for me. And then the idea of the blades and the hands, and it was more than your standard weapon for a killer.
Yeah.
And then the burns on his
Pizza
face.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, I was 14 and it was scary.
I find that very interesting because of how much Tony hates language in movies. Freddy's really the one who does the most language.
Yeah, I was 14 at
All
the
of
time.
the movies.
The older you get, the less you care about that stuff. At 14, I'm sure I went on a date and went and saw it,
Yeah.
But it was scary, and it was for me. I went back and looked at the trailer preparing for this video, and was like, "Yep, that was good and scary."
Yeah.
And the girl that played in it, what was her name? It was Heather Langenkamp.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at the time, she was like a teen idol. She was really cute, but she played a good, fighting this thing and trying to get away from it. And again, like you said, Johnny Depp is the boyfriend.
Yeah.
That was an interesting probably one of his earliest performances. He was really young and wholly different than he is now as far as he looks and acts and his mannerisms and stuff. So it was interesting to go back and see him as he started out his career and how it is now. But yeah, that was a good one. And
Number 3.
Going back a little bit further, Halloween, the 1978 would have been, I was 8 years old. Why did my parents let me go see a movie when I was 8 years old? It was this scary. I don't know if I saw it a couple of years later, but I did see it as a kid, and that movie scared me well. I mean, if anyone has seen that movie and then hears the first bar of the track of the sound effects of that, of the score, you know what it is, and it stops you in your tracks. I mean, it was a good scary movie. So,
Halloween, scaring babysitters since 1978.
yeah.
And I was gonna say that's when I fell in love with Jamie Lee Curtis also.
Yeah.
So I mean, she was amazing in that.
Yeah, and to that point, I didn't go see the latest ones that came out because I'm older and I'm not really interested in the scary movies. I like the action and things like that. So I didn't follow up and watch that. But the original, as a young kid, it scared me really well. And then number 2 for me, and it was a tie for this in the first place, so it doesn't matter who won, but it's The Thing by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies that if I catch it on TV, it stops me in my tracks. I watch it, and I still, to this day, am shocked by how well the effects in 82, I was 12, I'm a lot older now, hold up and are still terrifying. I mean, what they did in that movie and the scenes and with Kurt Russell as far as having to go through, and then you didn't know who was the bad guy, and it was all this casting dispersion and doubt on who was, and the way it ends with not knowing really. So everything about that movie was terrifying for me, and I
Yeah.
still think about it now and get chills about it. So
It's a great movie.
that's my number 2.
You go to Tony's Halloween party, you're going to get John Carpenter.
Yeah, and it's
Back-to-back
amazing.
John Carpenter.
Going back and looking, this is like 3 of my movies were John Carpenter. I was like, man, the guy was good at scaring. So,
Yeah.
All right, we will go through my Halloween movie list. This one will be a little bit different from the ones you just heard. My number 5 is Scooby-Doo. Yes, the live action version of Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
Because you put it on, you have a good time trying to figure out who done it. Matthew Lillard, excellently cast as Shaggy, and I love everything about the live action Scooby-Doo.
I remember it. I saw it with my kids probably. I don't remember a lot about it. I do remember the guy they cast to be him nails it perfect. The interaction with him and Scooby-Doo the dog, I think, was kind of. I don't remember the effects being great if they hold up now. How long ago did that movie come out? Has
It
been?
was early 2000s.
Yeah, so I don't know if the effects hold up well now, but I do think they did a great job with the casting. So, but yeah, I didn't. You know, it was funny.
The Scooby was actually CG, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo. My number 4, Disney Channel, Halloween Town.
Didn't see it.
Halloween Town is about about grandma is a witch and the
Never
daughter's
saw
a
it.
witch, and she wants to take her back to her homeland of Halloween Town where mayhem has happened, and it's all about Halloween, and it's a very good time. You got goblins and ghouls, and they're just trying to fix Halloween Town. So
It's a comedy.
it's a Disney Channel movie. It's very good,
Okay.
and you get a lot of great sequences in it. Pulls at the heartstrings, and it's all about Halloween.
It's all becoming clear. He's a big Buffy the Vampire Slayer person, and that kind of falls in line with that level of.
Is it kind of like a R.L. Stein type situation, like a Goosebumps type?
Not really. It's not really
Or is-
made to be scary. It's just your
Okay.
Disney Channel. They live in the real world, but then there's a second world called Halloween Town where it's Halloween all the time, and just things go bad, and they got to
Okay.
try and fix it with witches. And
Yeah.
it's a good Disney Channel movie.
Okay.
Sounds good.
My number 3, and this is definitely my favorite in the entire series or franchise, whatever you want to call these type of movies. It is Jim Varney, Ernest Scared Stupid. Did you guys ever see the Ernest series?
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
You had him go to jail. He went to camp. He did
He did
saved
everything.
Christmas. But this one is definitely the best. Ernest Scared Stupid. About this troll that just starts collecting these kids. And it's up to Ernest P. Worrell
I've
to
seen that
save
movie.
the day.
Yeah.
And he gets them with milk.
Yeah.
Gets them with milk. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Number 2, definitely I used to watch this with old girlfriends all the time. And it's always a classic. It is definitely Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus is that quintessential Halloween movie that everybody's got to watch every Halloween. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy, just great as the witches.
My 7-year-old just watched it the other day.
It still holds up now.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
All right.
So for Halloween, bring your kids to his house.
Yes, I will show you
There you go.
actual
Yeah.
Halloween movies. We'll have some candy corn.
Yeah.
All right,
No-
so
nothing scary going on over
yeah,
there.
that is
Yeah.
our 5 through 2. Daniel, what is your number 1
Okay.
Halloween movie?
Well, I just have to say this movie, I saw it last year or the year before that. It just like shook me to the core, and it's the scariest movie I've ever seen in a long while. So I would have to say Hereditary. It's like a brilliantly executed movie. The music, the scenery, the pacing of it, the scariness, the creepy factor, the otherworldly. I mean, it got satanic stuff in it, yeah, but you know. It's amazing, literally. I mean, to me, it's like my favorite horror movie, scary movie that I've seen
Sounds like I'm glad I didn't see
in a
it.
while. Yeah, I mean that's right up there for me. Like that's alone like a 9 or a 10 for me. I love that movie.
Did you see it?
I sat through Hereditary. Let's go on to Tony's number 1.
Okay.
That's what I have to say about Hereditary.
Okay.
All right, my number 1, going way back on the time scale, 1978, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Ah.
Again, why on earth did my parents let me watch a show like this when I was 8 or 9, whenever I got to see it? But starring Donald Sutherland, Jeff Goldblum, Leonard Nimoy, and it was a science fiction kind of movie, if you haven't seen it, where it starts off with something comes from space and it starts to infect people and it grows clones of them and the original shrivels up, and and it slowly over time, more and more people get it, and it's just nonstop going. I remember thinking I was worn out as a kid at the end of it, going, finally she's made it, and then at the end, I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen it, but she don't make it.
Spoiler alert, people! It's only been about 50 years.
Yeah, and it killed me as a little kid to go. There wasn't a good ending. Everyone. So I mean, it was. To this day, I still think back on that final scene when she thinks she's talking to Sutherland, the real person, and sees that he's one too, and this noise he makes will grate on you like a chalkboard into your dreams. It was so scary. So yeah, for me, it's that one.
Cool.
All right.
Donald Sutherland's amazing. Like he's probably one of my favorite actors of all time. I love him. So.
All righty. My number one of all time, Tony said it earlier, or Daniel said it, one of them said it. It's Halloween. It's
okay.
The
Very
best
good.
horror movie, slasher movie. It's all of them. Michael Myers is still the best horror movie villain of all time. The overall scariness, the music that you talked about, everything about Halloween, it's just so great. It still holds up to this day.
Totally.
Really not many of the sequels. Some of them I enjoy, not the new one they just tried to do. But Halloween is overall the best Halloween movie. It's the one I'm always going to watch every single year.
It's a great one. And like you say, you can't beat Jamie Lee Curtis. She's amazing. So,
All right, guys. That is our top 5 apiece Halloween movies of all time. What did you think of our list? Which one of us would you go to? Which one of our houses would you go to watch a Halloween movie marathon? And what is your favorite Halloween movie? Be sure to put it in the comments below. Always follow us on MovieRounders.com, where we review movies or even do top 10 lists, and you control the camera.